Perhaps you remember when you were in school, your teacher would be teaching you about fractions. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. And I'm going to make a circle. Get up my line. This is a whole pie. It represents a pie. And when we put the pie with a line down the middle, we divide it into half. So now we have two halves. The two halves put together makes one pie. And we put in another line, the center to edge, we've got 1/2 and 2/4. Put them all together, you still have one pie. And the 2/4 put together makes a half a pie. And when we look at the money, it doesn't look the same, especially in our coins. Maybe you can remember as a kid, they're trying to teach you how to count money, and you just went through the pie scenario where you saw that two pieces of pie add up to another piece of pie that's bigger. The 2/4 makes a half. Then you take a look at this nickel, and you're trying to figure out how does two of these make something smaller, and it's just not fitting together, and you can't figure it out. Well, your parents probably told you, well, that's just the way it is. So you have to make like an exception for that. But in reality, we can take a look at the dime. And if we see this dime, and here's a quarter, we could probably take 2.5 of these to make 1/4. Now there's a 50-cent piece, which is probably twice the size of the quarter, and then the dollar is probably 4 times the size of the quarter. Maybe not in diameter, but diameter and thickness together. I didn't actually try that, but it kind of looks that way. But the penny and the nickel are way out of shape in proportion that way. Another thing about the dime, the quarter, the 50-cent piece, and the dollar is they all have ridges around their edges. This picture doesn't actually show that. If I zoom in, yeah, you can see some ridges around here. Those ridges are put there for a reason. Back years ago, the money was made of silver, and people, they would take like a knife and shave the edge of the coins and take some silver and then put it in a bucket, and eventually they'd have enough silver to make another coin. So they're actually stealing from a whole bunch of coins to make a new coin. That was stealing, and it was called defacing the money, and it was a crime. So these ridges, they were put into the coins to prevent people from scraping the edges off. Today, I mean, people write on dollar bills, and it's not really considered a crime. It's not nice, but it's not considered a crime. And the money, if it gets flattened, it gets flattened, or people, I've seen a penny with a pipe in Abraham Lincoln's mouth. Somebody put a stamp there and made a little pipe in his mouth. But back when it was made of silver, it was definitely wrong. So what is the dollar? Well, the dollar is not an object. The dollar is a unit of measure. Just like you can have quarters of a pie, it's still pie, but it's a measurement. Measurements can be in weight and in volume, and they're supposed to be proportional, so that when you go to the grocery store and you want to buy a pound of lunch meat, they put it on a scale to weigh it and make sure that you're getting the pound that you're paying for. The scales all need to be calibrated so that it's verified. And when you go into a store and you want to buy a ruler, the clerk's not going to say, do you want the long one or the short one? Because rulers are a set measurement of 12 inches. And our money, the value of the dollar is set. But what is it set at? And where does inflation come from?